Greetings, Mindcrafters, and welcome to another exciting Minecraft discussion. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am your hostess with the mostest. There's a little G over there. I guess you can't really see him. He's on his little chair right there, a little bit. And he's taking a snooze because we went out in the woods and he brought home all kinds of snowballs, just like he did the other day. And it's kind of exhausting, but, wonderful, fabulous fun, but he's a little wet. So anyway, what I want to talk about today is falling in love with your future. We're just talking about knowing your next move and talking about listening to the inner voice and all of that. And that's just so important. As we say, put it out there, right? We talked about it. First of all, come up with something, ask the big ask out to God, source, higher power, universe. And then next is to allow, right? And then receive, and then do it over again. We talked about that in the last one. So now we're talking about and coming from an incredible place of inspiration when you're just in the zone. Because I know for me, as a definitely card-carrying member of the Creative Club, it's not anything that can be forced. It's not like, gee, I'm going to go be creative now. And unless you're really, you got to feel it. In order to feel it, you've got to open every door for it to come in. That's how it works. So it's kind of counterintuitive because, especially in our very individualistic kind of go culture, it's difficult. And especially me with I have a very fast processing speed. And I just like, when I want it now, I want it yesterday, I want it the day before, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's like, okay. So I have to go out in the woods and then I'm flooded. It's like a faucet you couldn't shut off. You don't want to shut it off, but if you wanted to, you just couldn't. So we have to kind of, and it's very similar to, and because there's overlap here with creativity and opening the door for flow, which I'm going to do a whole nother thing on that later. But for right now, opening the doors for creativity. And sometimes people think, oh, I'm not a creative. Only other people are creatives. No way. We all have creative genius in us. Think about it. We're all walking balls of energy. We've talked about it before. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, not the reverse. We are walking balls of creativity. So what I really want to talk about is once you put it out there, what's my next move? I want to write a children's book. I want to start a business. I want to take over this company or take over maybe a position or a promotion where I have all kinds of agency to make all kinds of fantastic structures or infrastructural changes, maybe just do a huge splash of well-being in your department, your division, your company, whatever it is where your creative energy is going. Maybe you're at a fabulous restaurant. You want to turn that around and have it have a theme or something, whatever it is, and put it out there. And then be paying hyper attention to the breadcrumbs. I think about Hansel and Gretel. That really old sort of, I have to say the old children's fairy tales. I mean, children in ovens. I don't know, but back then a little more harsh, I guess. But anyway, I was steering away from that, back to the breadcrumbs thing and paying attention to the little breadcrumbs, and that makes me think of I think it was Abraham Hicks who was talking about when a farmer plants the seeds. When the farmer plants the seeds, she doesn't plant them like, let's say 2 weeks, she plants corn and then 2 weeks ago, she doesn't go back and lift up the dirt along the rows and say, gee, is sprouting yet? It's not how it works. We have to kind of have faith in that process while we're doing it. And then wait for the sprouts and wait for the breadcrumbs to drop and wait for the synchronicities, which my good friend Tom, I talk about him a lot, wrote his entire dissertation on synchronicity and watching for the green lights. But we have to pay attention. Those green lights are popping up all the time. But if we're flying around like a gerbil on crack, we're not seeing them. So also what we're talking about is quite a switch from being very focused on our environment, what we're looking at right here, just less focused on that and really busting through the unknown. Because here's the thing, if we're locked into thinking the same way, feeling the same way, and doing the same thing day in and day out, guess what's not changing? Answer, your life. That's just how it is. So when it can be hard to kind of brave that unpioneer territory, however is just a fancy way to say but, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's really important to just get quiet. Now, you don't have to get, the mind has to be still. You don't have to be still. I get some of my best thinking done on the chairlift, unless I have really chatties with me, and I like to chat with people. But if I'm fortunate enough to be by myself, or skiing through the woods, or walking through the woods, or snowshoeing through the woods, I do my best work, and the creativity comes to me when I'm moving. but my mind is still. The body's moving, mind's still. That works for me. Other people need to sit and like do like this, and that's fine as long as you shut out the stimulation. Just shut out the stimulation, which is why motion for me works, but that's because I'm in the Fast Mind Club. Because like when I'm skiing through the trees, you're kind of forced to be in the moment because you'll hit them, right? So creativity just comes right at me. Or sit and get still for 15 minutes. Find a quiet space in your house or apartment or whatever, because we want a shift of energy we want to shift into energy versus hours. A lot of us are locked into, because we've been conditioned to think that we've got to be productive, especially in our individualistic society. I love my country very, very much. It's just true. Work-wise, we've been gerbils on crack for a long time. And I think the coronavirus helped us slow that down. And I have a tenacious work ethic, so I'm not a fan of lazy daisies either. It takes a lot of anything in life worth it takes effort. We're not saying that. What we're saying though is to shift, because it is actually more productive to do a shift of energy and focus than it is to just, again, what it comes down to is quality over quantity, right? Just filling up hours and then we feel productive. It's kind of like I tell my students when we go over different ways to study well, and I'm talking about memory because I'm like, of course, with my cognitive psychology background, because we talk about this illusion of getting somewhere studying when there's rereading the same page over and over. That's like not worth anything, really, not worth 0.00001 unless we challenge the brain. So you're better off, doing a cross quiz situation with a few friends for 1 hour than staring at a book for 8 hours. I mean, it's just how it is. So we're talking about energy over just mindless hours of production. That isn't worth anything. So we also don't want to complicate things. This is where that essentialism comes in. And what's the author? Greg McKeown. So my new mastermind friends turned me on to his book Essentialism, and then his other book is Effortless. And so we're sticking with essentialism. We don't want to complicate it. Wherever your next move is, falling in love with your future, you need to know your next move, and you need to simplify it. Keep it simple. That's also a one-liner from the 12-step program, which I like those. But essentialism, Greg McKeown talked about that back in the 1400s. The word priority was singular. There was no plural of it. Why? Because priority means just that. There's only one thing that's important to you. Will Smith says the same thing in a different way. By the way, that priority thing didn't change like the early 1900s when people started saying priorities and pri 1, pri 2, pri 3. Really, there's one essential thing, one priority. You want to trim the fat, get rid of my former good friend, and not former good friend, still good friend, former dean, still good friend, former dean, used to say, get rid of the noise. It was a different context, but it's very much the same. Get rid of the noise, get rid of the static, hone in on that one thing. If it's the book you want to write, focus on the book, nothing else. If it's that business you want to start, focus on the business, nothing else. If it's the speaking engagements you want, focus on the speaking engagements, nothing else. Whatever it is, bang. And Will Smith said that too. You have a plan A, you don't want a plan B. Entrepreneurial-wise speaking, that did not make any kind of sense. We're not talking about certain contexts, like if you're just getting out of college and you have just enough rent and you're going for this house, but you're going for that. You got to have a plan B, you're not going to have any place to live, right? So we're not talking about that kind of context. We're talking about in a creative sense, in your next move sense, where you want to be with your life sense. We're talking about that Will Smith would say, put it all into plan A, because plan B takes away energy from plan A. Exactly. So don't complicate it. Stick with that important thing. Choose that one place to place your energy, whatever we attenuate to, right? The sexy 14-karat word for pay attention is where our energy is going to go. It's what's going to be successful. We know that for a fact. Anything else in that noise is just going to distract you. So now I made notes and I just have to find them. Okay, so in that mix, we talked about also getting rid of the junk. When that self-doubt starts to creep up, maybe because you're telling people too much, don't do that. If your next move does not need to be everybody's business. You that one safe person, maybe, but that's it. Oh, should you do this? You're already 58. Who cares? I don't give a fat rat's ass what anybody thinks anyway. But neither do you want to. So you want to get rid of the junk. Any kind of self-doubt. Remember, those thoughts are like just bubbles. They're not real unless you allow them to hang around and you give meaning to them. So just like Jon Kabat-Zinn says, Pop them. Pop, 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 pop. They're not real. And people forget that thoughts are not based in any kind of fact unless we sort of assign meaning to them. So just pop away. Pop away. You allow what you want to stay and kick the rest right out, kick the rest to the curb. And we also want to visualize. We want to really visualize. So you know, some people might be saying, oh, but she's saying be in the moment. I am saying be in the moment. Be in the moment with deliberate intention, and breathe and quiet your mind. 15 minutes of skiing, 15 minutes of snowshoeing. I go for way longer than that because I'm out in the woods, but 15 minutes inside is less for me because I'm just sitting. It's definitely less. Just still the mind and make sure you're kind of calming it down so you can feel, actually feel in this moment, right now, in this moment, what that emotion, that future emotion feels like, but in the now. It sounds contradictory, but it really isn't, because by doing this, we are unhinging the mind's attachment to the past. This is huge. The past is over. It's water under the bridge. Any bad stuff that happened, for sure, any self-doubt stuff that's creeping up, it's all over. It's old news. We've used that newspaper to start the fire in the wood stove. It's all done. So when we actually feel the emotion of the future, I mean, really feel it, as if it already happened. So we're grateful. Picture how different your life is in this moment, but you're not surprised. You're grateful, not surprised, and just feel, because the brain doesn't know the difference between what we're rehearsing in here and what's happening on the outside. Picture the children's book cover. Picture what it looks like. Picture your new office with a promotion. Picture your new love. And this is the other thing, when we're latched into the past, that whole cause and effect thing, we want to break free of that. Not cause and effect, causing an effect. Okay, there's a difference. Cause and effect says, you know, that I have to have this happen to have a new relationship. I have to have this happen to have a promotion. I have to have this happen to write that book. I have to have this happen to start that business. I have to this happen to get the speaking engagement, whatever. No new wonderful, amazing partner is going to walk in the door until you are exuding love out of every orifice of your body. You've got to be that love, have all that love to give in order to even attract that. So same thing with the promotion or the whatever. You got to figure out all kinds of stuff you're grateful about now, even though you're focused on your next move. I'm grateful for my freedom. I'm grateful for the good schedule I have. I'm grateful for the 2 people that I do like out of the group. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the travel opportunities. I'm grateful for the whatever opportunities. And just, you've got to feel it. You got to be in that for it to happen. Okay, and then remember that the brain loves patterns and repetition. So just like we practice anything, whatever we practice, we get better at. The violin, soccer, whatever. When we rehearse, visualizing that children's book, okay, and detaching from outcome of where it's published and who it's published by and all that, just the illustrators, that's all going to come together. Just the authentic feeling of your creativity rolling through you onto those pages, and then making kids happy all over the country and world. That's what you want to visualize. And then we're actually teaching our bodies what this emotion feels like in the now. We are teaching our bodies what this emotion feels like in the now. Because remember, the language of the mind is thoughts, right? Language of the body is a body is feelings. And we also talked about thoughts, when they grow up, turn into beliefs, right? So we've got to actually take those thoughts and just feel them all the way through with everything we have in us, with a quiet, still mind, and then rehearse this every day. If you only take 5 minutes, this is how we can begin to fall in love with our future. Awesome. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from my living room, and a snoring golden retriever, Giovanni. Have a mindful day.